Mirka has overcome the challenges that she helps her clients with now. And she's going to talk to us tonight about fear of rejection. Oh.
It was only us girls in a classroom. We were in a 6th grade, and there was 90s music playing on a cassette recorder, and everyone was having an amazing time. And girls were rehearsing a dance for the annual school party, and everyone was having a good time except for me. Well, I haven't been invited to join in. I was the only girl sitting at my scruffy old wooden desk, pretending I'm okay, pretending I don't care, but deep down I was traumatized. This never happened to me before. No one ever rejected me before. I have even asked them if I can suggest them some steps or something, but no, sorry, we don't need you. So I had to sit there on my lunch breaks and just pretend like, yeah, I'm cool with it. I didn't even have an iPhone, so I could not even entertain myself. Now, who here has ever been rejected or felt that you don't belong? Right. And you remember the strong feeling of rejection, like how painful it was. The thing is that the fear of rejection is in our DNA, because in order to survive, we used to be part of a tribe, otherwise we'd be eaten an animal. And having this fear as our pattern in our DNA showed up, particularly in my life, especially around relationships. To that point, or to that degree, that when I was with my partner, I actually thought I'm not good enough, so I didn't want to be rejected. So I created a persona that is apparently better than me and completely lost my identity. And what happened? My partner left me because he didn't recognize who I was anymore. What I believe that the fear of rejection goes hand in hand with the need for love and acceptance. And we are so bombarded with all these messages on the radio, in romantic comedies, that you need someone desperately to love you and to complete you. So I personally ended up going through my whole life feeling like I need someone to complete me, to belong and to be accepted. But unfortunately, that's not the way world works. And thank God for personal development, because when I discovered what self-love was exactly, I actually learned to love myself, and I learned to not fear the rejection from others. The other thing I wanted to do is, sometimes I feel like I want to go back to my younger self in the 6th grade, to go and give her a hug and tell her, listen, you're okay, you are loved, you're fine. Just don't be scared. What I would love to leave you with this evening, I know my talk is not perfect, and loads of you know that 6 months ago I could not even stand here and talk to people. I was so scared, and I'm now completely freestyling because I forgot the closing part of the talk. So guys, I would love to leave you with not with a quote, I forgot the quote, but I would love to leave you with a thought that please don't be afraid of rejection, because they probably don't even meant to be for you if they reject you. Just stay within and stay with the love for yourself.
Take the applause, Mirka.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
I'm one of the people that was there 6 months ago when Mirka just stood in front of us and shook and cried. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, good. Well done. So yes, as I've said to you, I think what was a couple of months ago at IOD, that you've come such a long way as a speaker. Your presence is endearing. It's very charming. You're naturally, people will like you when you're on stage because you're so soft and gentle. For you, some stretches. I want you to really work on your tone. You know, we've talked about using the visual part of your voice. So the visual part of the voice is descriptive, and then you drop to the auditory part, which is where you really want to convey a story, and you drop to the kinesthetic to really get people to feel. Yeah, feel. I don't know, I just what you're doing, right? So, right, it's a whole lot of feeling. And I really want you to start playing, because you're very stuck between visual and auditory, and so really practice that. The other thing is, by the way, that is a great viral video with some really great music with you talking to the camera, money behind it. That will explode on the internet, by the way. That's off the cuff. Also, something will help you stay on track is visual anchoring. I don't know if any of you know about visual anchoring, but it's when you use your body, which then helps you remember the point you're making. So storytelling, especially using visual anchors, using visual parts of the stage. So, you know, past, present, future. But, you know, this represents the little girl in you up back here. And if you start to use the stage that way, when you forget, you can just go to some part of the stage which triggers off that little girl part. And the last thing I'm going to say is, it would have been lovely if you turned to the little girl and actually spoke to her. And then she looked up at you with these loving eyes and just embraced what you had to say. So just a bit of play there.
Thank
really
you.
Great stuff.
Thank
really
you.
great stuff.
Thank you.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that. I don't know how far you've come, so I really appreciate it. And when you're saying a story that's really, you know, in you, like here's, you know, something I can, when you're overthinking about what you're going to say, you can just go and speak to someone else. And so you shift the problem right onto them. You're like, we've all had rejection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Love that.
Focus onto your audience member whilst you're gathering. I always forget what I'm saying. I'm literally like, like, it depends if it's too constructed. And so this is a personal story. I back up what Elliot says. Like, I have a 13-year-old version of myself. You know, when I was younger, I went to kill myself, and I open up an event, I talk about it, but then I literally go to that place, and then you anchor it, and you're like, when I was 13, when I was 13, when I was 13. And so, yeah, again, and just to notice also, like, when you were pausing, it was really powerful. Like, so never ever think, like, the beauty of the pause, which I'm sure you guys have covered, but when you pause, whatever you say next sounds magical. For no reason. Just because you're pausing. And so when you're pausing, remember, like, what's beautiful is that once I realized that, like, you can just hold. You never need to, like, you can just really focus in on someone. And again, it makes them feel uncomfortable, which is great, because it shifts that feeling, and you're just pushing it onto someone else. And like in corporate, so I started in a corporate environment where people were like really like, and so you just push all of that awkwardness onto someone else, and you're like, have that. Whilst I wait, because your brain naturally like clicks, you know, and sometimes we all forget things in a moment. You just need a little bit of practice and time. That was wicked. Hit it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.